What's going on, Cancer? And welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I hope you're feeling incredible today. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really does mean a lot to me, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. Now, the purpose of this channel for those of you who have Cancer in your placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, wherever Cancer, this one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based off our ruler here, the good old Moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, when she's going void, of course, just all of those lunar shenanigans. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force a reading on a situation, and everything will be fantastic, Cancer. Now, let me put this down before I do that. Let's jump into it! Because that would have been a mess, Cancer. But you know what? Your space has been cleansed. Gems. Feeling lovely. Just good energy all around here, Cancer. Now, Cancer, the moon is going void, of course, today, and she means it. She went void, of course, early today at about, ooh, yeah, yeah, she did. She totally hermited. Ooh, okay. She went void, of course, today at about a little after midnight, about 12:43 in the morning, and that's going to be Central Time. And then she's going to be moving from Pisces into Aries, and will be entering Aries at about 11:13 in the evening. So we're looking at about a 22-hour, 30-minute void, of course, Cancer. So just kind of kick back and relax if you have the time, because with the void, of course, energy, this is a good time to recharge our batteries. Maybe do some meditation, find ourselves again, kind of check in. And during this time as well, our plans may be subject to change, and then people may have troubles making decisions during this time. So just something to be mindful of when we're working with these energies, Cancer. And with the moon being in Aries, this is exciting energy because, it's kind of like an impulsive, emotional nature kind of comes to the surface here. And you might be feeling a little bit fearless, so, kind of be mindful of any sort of reckless behavior, Cancer. Aries is very kind of fiery, hot energy. So just, be mindful of that. And we're still in that, last little bit of the supermoon, new supermoon energy here, Cancer, before we move into the next phase. So if you got any things that you want to cook up here, I say get started in Cancer. You remember, when it comes to planting these seeds for the cycle, it doesn't have to be anything like, tremendous this go around. It could be something even as small as I think I want to cut out maybe cookies this week, or maybe I want to start taking some time to do some yoga this week, or maybe even take some time to meditate. So, just keep that in mind, Cancer. And then lastly, the decks that I'm using. This one is the Dreamy Moons Tarot deck, Chariot Friends exclusive. And then the Oracle deck that I'll be using is the Anatomy of a Witch deck. And I'll include I'll include links for these decks and other decks that I like using down in the description box below. So definitely check that out if you're interested, Cancer. Whew. That's a mouthful. Void, of course, days. But let's get into your reading here, Cancer, because this is a very introspective energy for you here. Because the energy of the day came out, first card would have been the Eight of Cups here, and it was clarified by the Hermit. And that's fascinating, Cancer. I like that combination because I feel like that with this energy, when I'm recording this, we're still technically, in that Pisces energy. So, but this energy here, the Eight of Cups is this, it's going to come to me, Cancer. This is Saturn in Pisces. And I feel like this is asking us to kind of look at what are some ways that we've been restricting ourselves. Are there any sort of limitations that we notice, or anything that are sort of keeping our energies down, whether that be, it could be something along the lines of maybe if we wanted to quit smoking, that could be something. Or maybe we want to start moving the body more, as far as maybe we want to start walking, maybe, excuse me, doing some yoga. I just feel like, any sort of thing, I feel like that may be lowering your vibration, or even be that may, or even Cancer, it might even just be something as simple as what's not serving you, or service, what is not servicing a purpose anymore, Cancer. And this might even be maybe even in like your space, maybe there's some things, and I'm not calling you a hoarder, Cancer, but maybe there's some things in our space, do we have some like old stuff that maybe we can maybe think about maybe getting rid of? Maybe the house has become a little cluttered, Cancer. Maybe do like a yard sale or something like that, I just I was helping some family not too long ago with something like that, and those are kind of fun, Cancer. And people mean business when they come to those yard sales. If you don't think you can get rid of some stuff, you would be surprised, Cancer. And with all this letting go stuff, because that's where the Eight of Cups energy is getting at. It's just like, maybe things we might have some emotional ties to that are just weighing us down, and it's just about setting those things free. And two, you see how this figure is journeying away from those cups, kind of turning her back on the cup and just like venturing into the dark, into the unknown. It can be a little uncomfortable at first. And even sometimes I feel like I'm more uncomfortable than we realize, Cancer. Because there's one thing to say that, oh, I can let go of this thing at any time, or I can quit this thing at any time. But then when it's like, okay, well, what are some things that we can let go? How about that thing? It's just like, oh, well, maybe tomorrow, or soon, real soon, But Cancer, I say, what if there are some stuff that we may be holding on to, some things that we might be letting go, and if we have some kind of real emotional ties with that, sit with that energy for a little bit, meditate on that, figure out what was that attachment, how did we get to this place? I'm not saying that it can be anything severe, but it's just always, it's good to kind of check in with yourself. What was that about? If there was any sort of like attachments to there, and figure out maybe this was something, or there might even be some stuff too, if you happen to be, let's say, for example, maybe rummaging through some old things, for example, maybe you come across some things that are sentimental to you, brings up some nostalgia, brings up some old memories. That may be something to meditate on too as well, Cancer. But I feel like too, even if this is more so kind of like emotional stuff, as far as, maybe we're getting over like a breakup, or maybe we're getting over a loss, or maybe we're, and I wouldn't even say like getting over, we're growing from that experience, it's exciting. I feel like, even like moving on, it's like, I don't even feel like you have to forget this situation, Cancer, but you're growing from that thing. Because that's what we do, Cancer, we grow through experience. I was just talking with someone about Cancerian energy earlier today, and just really thinking about that. Sometimes to really understand the feeling, we have to, or to understand the feeling, it's to be in some form of experience, and to Cancer, to show compassion for yourself, and then that allows your empathy to grow, and then you can spread that to others, and it's just really can be just a beautiful thing that could really be born from this. Maybe that's with this void of course, Cancer, this is really a good time for everybody. I feel like that if we can take even just like 5 minutes out of your day and just kind of center yourself, just sort of, because there's no wrong way to, well, let me put it this way. I feel like with like meditation, it's whatever brings you to the present moment, whatever, and whatever allows you the space to just kind of be with your inner thoughts for a second. And you don't have to attach to it. May seem a little chaotic, if you happen to kind of sit down and do something, Cancer, but even just sitting with being with that, being with the chaos, it kind of even shows you, it's just like, oh, my mind is very active. How fascinating. I didn't realize that. And then it kind of just really great things unlock when we take a moment and be with ourselves, Cancer. So just something to keep in mind. But let's get to the next couple cards. I was like, whoa, we could do the reading just off these couple cards here, Cancer. But let's see what are some ways that we can work with this energy. And I like that. First off, we got the Five of Wands here. And when we're thinking about this stuff here, Cancer, like anytime we think about like letting go, or or even like meditating, or, doing introspective work, maybe there's like the initial response might be a little visceral. There might be some kind of, like you don't want to do it, or like an aversion or something like that, natural kind of like, oh, I don't know about that, like that sounds kind of. And I say, Cancer, just relax. This is something, make it work for you. If sitting down in like in a in a cross leg posed, with the, if that's not your jam, because maybe that's something where we got like maybe our joints or something like that. You can do it in a chair if you're thinking for different options for that. But it can even be something, Cancer, maybe like lighting a candle, and maybe just like looking at fire. Because have you ever sat in front of like a fireplace or in front of a bonfire, and how relaxing that can be, how your mind can kind of go in a trance, that kind of thing. Maybe sit in front of a bonfire. When's the last time maybe we did something like that, Or, I love that, you got all these hands here with people bringing fire. I think some of us, do a bonfire, do something fun like that. Or maybe even have it to where, I don't know, Cancer, there could be so much that you can do with this. But I feel like that, allow yourself to be uncomfortable. If we feel that initial response when we think about letting stuff go, and then sitting with the things that we are choosing to let go. There, of course, there's going to be that initial response, but that doesn't mean that this is necessarily a bad thing. It's that growth is happening, Let's see what are some other ways we can work with this energy. Oh, okay, look at that. We got so many ways we can work with this energy, Cancer. All these? Okay. Happy birthday, Cancer. Higher self is bringing a gift here. And a lot of Wands energy. Because Cancer, wow. I feel like that this is something where, with this energies, with the stuff that's letting go. Ooh, okay. Let's see where to start even. I feel like that first, starting off, we got the Ten of Wands here with this, with how we can work with the energies. And I feel like that it's, again, any kind of burdens. Look at this chick. She's carrying all this. And keep in mind, Cancer, this isn't a gender-specific reading. Some of you, if this is resonating with you, you're totally her in this scenario. She's got all these wands here that she's holding on to. And, I feel like that's... It's what are some things, are there some things that we can either let go, or even maybe, because Cancer, I'm even thinking too, with this Ten of Wands, this could even be something where maybe some of us, if we're, let's say, for example, if we're own our own company, if we're like a manager somewhere, this could even be something as like a delegating type of situation. Maybe if you have too much on your plate, that could be something to maybe distribute the energy around. It's okay to ask for help on some, with this energy. But I also feel like too, Cancer, even just in general, if there are any things that are like weighing you down, that are making this, that are adding any sort of like discomfort to your journey, what are some ways that we can alleviate that, Because I feel like that this is something that it's, I feel like it's something that it's almost where, when asked to, because maybe this is something where, and take it as a resonance, I feel like this is going to be for a small few. Maybe this is something where some other people might have, I'm thinking more so along in the realms of like addiction and letting go of stuff like that. Maybe this is something where some of us might have been met with like some sort of, where people have been asking us, hey, can you let something go? Or maybe this is vice versa. Maybe this is something where you're asking someone to possibly let someone go. Maybe this is something we're thinking about as well. And I say, really on either end, that's going to be one. Compassion is going to be a big thing here. And that's Siren. I'm going to take that as validation here. I feel like this is something where, if we can find a way to work, if this is something where we were met with people came to us saying that, like, maybe you need to let go of this, you need to quit drinking, or even when I was talking about hoarding, maybe we need to maybe someone's been like, hey, you got too much stuff here, we need to let some of this stuff go. Maybe this is something where I feel like, Cancer, maybe try to meet them halfway with this thing. I feel like that there is a happy medium with this thing, and even if this is with, like, you kind of might be wrestling with internally as well. It's like, well, like, let's say, for example, we're thinking about drinking, for example. If You're like, well, I want to let this thing go, but I also like, if I stick within this drink minimum, like I'm good. But if I happen to go over, say I'm having a good time, then okay, then the night's going to be spoiled. If we're even having that kind of internal wrestling, kind of like I almost feel like that there is a compromise that can happen. There's a sweet spot that can happen, but it's just, it's taking that initiative, and then allowing that, because this is going to be a whole process, Cancer. Take some time to heal during this thing. Rest up, especially with, if we're letting go, like whatever we're letting go, because sometimes if it's enough to have any sort of like emotional response to it, it's enough to take a moment and kind of be with that for a second. Think about what has transpired up until now, and then you keep it moving, then we grow from this thing, Cancer. I hope that's making sense. This is a kind of a complex reading here, but we're moving along. So let's get to what are some challenges that might come up with working with this energy, Cancer. Oh, boy. Okay, we're keeping those? Not keeping them. No? Okay. Let's see. Okay, interesting. The challenge, Cancer, and that makes sense. You got the Fool here, one. Any other challenges? Okay. So with the Fool, I feel like the Fool is taking that first step, that initial, okay, throwing that thing away, or marking this like the day, okay, I'm quitting right now, whether that be, it could be cigarettes, alcohol, gambling, whatever, whatever it is we're choosing to let go. Taking that first step, and don't make it, and you know what? I was gonna say, don't make it like a big deal. Actually, make it a big deal in the sense, I feel like, celebrate it, because this is a conscious decision that this is a decision you're making. You're choosing something. You're choosing growth. You're choosing to not to let something that's no longer serving you a purpose. I say celebrate that. It doesn't have to be anything over the top, Cancer. Make it as big as you want to, but it is something worth celebrating, and it is something worth trying, Cancer, taking that first step. It's I feel like the first step is the hardest part, and then everything after that is, you're gonna have little peaks and things, like maybe little, but if we can get just that first step here, then then you just show yourself that you can do it, and then afterwards, then we just get a balance. Then we just learn to work with it, especially thinking too, if this is something where it's like something like an addiction, that's an every moment battle, it's something that you're constantly balancing out. But that doesn't have to make it to where it's going to be like a daunting mission. It's like, okay, I just something to be mindful of. And then we keep it moving, and then we grow from that. We get a little bit stronger. And we know what? Every now and again, Cancer, not to say that you're going to, but sometimes we might teeter, we may fall every now and again, and that's fine. Just as long as we reflect, and then we keep it moving, we don't let that hold us down here, Cancer. Now let's get some advice. Yeah, a lot going on with this reading, Cancer, but I dig it. Yeah, it seems like overall, Cancer, if I had to give this just like an overall message, any kind of burdens or anything that's like holding us back or inhibiting our growth, let's look to see if there's some ways that we can look to let that thing go, Cancer. Oh, all right. Nice. Some advice, Cancer. You got the World here. And I feel like with the World popping up, this, whatever it is that you're letting go, the things and stuff, the material stuff, the emotions, all of this, whatever it is that we may be letting go, it doesn't define us, Cancer. It builds the bigger picture that is you. It's just another piece to the masterpiece that is you, Cancer. That's what these experiences are about. They were with you for a time to get you to this next place, and then when it gets you here, and look at this, Cancer, I love when this happens, because you got the Fool and you got the World here, and that even though this is our challenge right now, you take that step, this is the first stop, and then this is the last stop here, Cancer. Completion can happen here. You know, this is going to be where it's going to be cycle, you know. And think too, Cancer, you know, we are of the signs, you know, the moon is the busiest celestial body. You know, it's going through cycles all the time. You know, you know, like all of it. Just so many cycles the moon has. And so we are cyclical as well, Cancer. You know, this is how we, you know, we ebb and flow and all of that, you know, and it's you know, I just feel like that. Take that step, Cancer, because I really do feel like that that's brilliant. You know, that really is. That's fantastic. So let's get to some oracle cards so I can get you out of here and get you thinking about what we might be letting go here, Cancer. You know what, Cancer, I may do the same. Oh, and while we're talking about little challenges, I don't know if anybody did anything new when I was saying do something outside of the box here, but let me tell you what I did. I took a nap. and I told you it didn't have to be anything big, but that was big for me. I'm not a napper. Usually I'm the type of, even if I feel tired, I'm like, I'll just work through it. It'll be fine. You know, I'll study through it. That's usually or I'll read something or whatever. And I tell you what, I'm always talking about taking 10 naps. I took a nap and it was fantastic. And man, you know, I think I might make it a habit. But Cancer, anymore. All right, we got the birth card in reverse here, and let's switch back over. I'm sorry I've been scratching my nose. I got this. I thought a sweater would be a great idea, but then I forgot that there are cats here, and now I feel like they may have been snuggling up with this, but it's fine. It's got a lot of love on it, but with this birth card in reverse here, Cancer, you know, I feel like that maybe some of us might be a little hesitant about maybe starting something new, about what is it going to mean to let this thing go? How will it define me? You know, because sometimes too, you know, I remember talking with someone when they were thinking about quitting drinking, and they were saying that it wasn't it was the fact that what did they had? They thought that at the time they had told me, they had thought that if I had quit drinking, and since we've been on the topic, since I quit drinking, that I thought I wasn't going to be funny anymore. And they were like, you know, I had built a whole persona around it, and it was just like, after I took that step, I was just like, wow, it's amazing what the brain will kind of tell itself when it really attaches to something, really kind of holds on to itself. It's like almost like a rewiring, Cancer, in a sense. And you know, Cancer, this is the safest space. You're in a judgment-free zone here. And this is not saying that, I'm not even saying that, like, you know, drinking or, you know, whatever the vice may be or whatever we're letting go is a bad thing. But what I am saying is, if it's gotten into a place where we are overindulging, you know what I mean? You know, when it's bringing us down, when it's lowering our vibration, that's a whole other thing. Because Cancer, we want to play word games. When I was talking with her, you know, I was like, girl, I get it, been there, get it. So it's like, you know, remember, does not define you. It's a piece in the grand scheme of things, you know, that is you. It's you know, making the whole that is you, Cancer. It's just a moment in time. So just something to think about here. But whew, I tell you what, Cancer, it's been nothing but, I told you we were going to have a profound week. And I am with it. And if you like that, Cancer, give it a thumbs up. Yeah, definitely one of your more complex readings for sure, but I'm with it. And if you know someone who may resonate with this, Cancer, share this. You know, let's raise the vibration. And then if you haven't already, subscribe, hit that bell button. You get notified when I release videos each day. I had a thought, and I now that I'm thinking about it, well, so as you see, I'm having the thought is what I should say. There's something I need to post on social media, so I'm going to be posting something soon, so stay tuned for that. And then lastly, Cancer, I'm assuming here because you've checked your sun, but if not, check your sun, moon, rising, your Mercury if you want to know how you communicate, your Venus if you want to know how you love, your Jupiter, if you want to know how you get luck. I could go through this all day, Cancer. But then go check out my other channel, Alchemist 8. I do all the other zodiac signs, plus yourself. And it's a good old time. I do different weekly videos, different monthly themes, Cancer. And all that housekeeping down in the description box below. But let me get you a surprise card here so I can get you out of here. And I love it. You got the Six of Cups here, one. And then let's see what your Oracle card is. Ooh, and we got some fire. And I'm with it. Because you know what, Cancer? I feel like that maybe that's how, when we're thinking about letting go of stuff here, instead of looking at it as like, maybe like as something like a sad thing, like, oh my gosh, I have to, like, this thing is gone, this thing is over, like, oh, where am I going to go from here? Look at it as like, all right, I'm making space for something new. Growth's getting ready to happen. And you know what? I can share this experience with other people too. I really do like the Six of Cups. It can be a number of things, I also feel too, Cancer, I just heard of something with the Six of Cups that I really liked. And it really does. The Six of Cups can be a card of nostalgia and thinking in the past, possibly. And I do feel like that the Six of Cups, it does remind us to be present, and to see where we're at, and while you're going through this, as we're letting go of stuff, be aware of your experiences as you're growing through this thing. That's so Queen of Cups, and watch how you grow from this situation, Cancer, and then celebrate that, celebrate every time we get like a big win here, celebrate that. I feel like you don't really need if you want an excuse to just get a bunch of people together, what an easy one, you know what I mean, Cancer? And two, Cancer, now that I'm actually kind of looking at this stuff, last thing here, you got the 5, 6, and 7 of Wands here. That's all Leo energy. And I feel like that this, really have some fun, because in letting go may seem hard in that moment, but then when we get into as we start to progress, really just some exciting stuff really can really opens up and really kind of blossoms for us, Cancer. So just something to keep in mind. But I think I'm gonna leave that there. So all right, kept you at a semi-reasonable time there, Cancer. But stay safe out there. And you keep eyes on the moon. And I will catch you. Oh, okay, you can bring your hand down now. I will catch you on the next one tomorrow.